Now, the death of the 21-month-old son of renowned Nigerian writer Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie has once again raised questions about healthcare in Nigeria. While we mourn with Chimamanda and her family on the sudden and tragic death of her toddler, Nkanu, following a medical procedure carried out at Eurocare Hospital in Lagos, we take a deep dive into the state of healthcare in Nigeria. Now, reacting to the death of the child, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has ordered a full investigation into allegations of medical negligence. Whilst we await the autopsy from medical examiners and the coroner's report as required under the law, we speak with a public health specialist, Professor Alero Roberts, on the state of healthcare in Nigeria to avoid more such deaths. Now, beyond the grief of a bereaved family, the incident has reopened an uncomfortable but necessary conversation about the quality of care, accountability and professionalism in Nigeria's healthcare system, both private and public. Doctors in Nigeria are on strike over the state of pay and infrastructure in Nigeria as we lose scores to the Japa syndrome. So, what next? Dr. Alero Roberts, welcome to the program. Good morning. Unfortunately, under such sad circumstances.
Can we say tragic?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, really tragic. And yes, it's a good morning because we are asked to bless God in all situations. But you can imagine that for me as a grandmother of a, and I've got a 16-month-old grandchild, the pain is double. I feel the pain of the mother of a mother, and it's absolutely awful to imagine. But you're right, we must take these really painful situations and look at the bigger picture and do the risk management. What could have, should have been done, what should not have been done, what could have gone better.
Okay, Professor Roberts, what should we expect? The mother, Chimamanda Adichie, has already served legal notice. The Lagos State government has commenced an investigation. The hospital involved, Eurocare, they said they maintain professional standards. But the major complaint by the mother of the deceased is medical negligence. An overdose of propofol by the anesthesiologist, and also lack of adequate care, failure to monitor the child, and all of that. This happens too often in Nigeria. And we hear, the coroner will look into it, investigation will be done, and all of that. At the end of the day, many of those cases we don't hear again after the media noise.
Well, this is just what we're talking about.
So where is the Nigerian Medical and Dental Council that is supposed to maintain standards, and why is it that many of the cases before now are never resolved?
There are too many. Bros, you are very, very correct. You're very correct. I sit in a place in Louth where I overlook the children's emergency room, and every now and again, more now than again, I hear that gut-wrenching, heartbreaking scream of a mother who has just lost a child. She's not world famous. She's not known in social media circles. She's not an influencer. She's a mother. It happens too often. And we've mentioned too many things that have gone wrong. Even the coroner's cases that you say start off an investigation, the whole of our hospital has one coroner. In Lagos State, apart from the fact that the allied health professionals are on strike, how many coroners do we have to handle how many deaths? Because any death that occurs within 24 hours of getting to a health facility is a coroner's case by law, even if it's a 99-year-old man. So you've got the first problem: no personnel, no systemic structure. No system, and the systems engineers understand this better than we do. Then now let's look at it. I'm a public health physician. I am not going to cross lane. I have no idea what is a proper dose or improper dose of propofol. Can I even remember what propofol is? But that is an aside. So I will not cross lane and comment on that. Let the investigators and independent, objective investigation take place. However, let's look at the very first thing. Nobody wakes up in the morning to take a 21-month-old child to hospital. That was not the agenda of the day. To fun fair, to grandma's house, to ice cream parlor, perhaps. To hospital, no. So something was gravely wrong with the child ab initio that warranted a trip to one hospital who escalated to the best hospital, one of the best hospitals that West Africa has, which was why it was chosen. What was that thing that went wrong in the community that led to the decision to take that child to hospital? This is where we come to what we call in public health the 3 delays. The delay in the home. Did they recognize danger signs on time? The delay in the transportation. Where is the health facility? In this case, the ultimate health facility is 6,000 kilometers away from the child. Hence, the child was being medevaced. Then the delay in the health system. Those 3 delays have all contributed. The second thing, global health research, you can check it out. That 12 to 24 months of age is critical in the speed with which a common cold can escalate to a viral encephalitis and become life-threatening. As I'm talking, I have goose flesh and I'm holding back tears because the pain is unimaginable. It's unimaginable.
I'd like for us to delve into some of the regulatory frameworks. Because just to chime into what Dr. Abati said, we hear several cases. In this instance, some of the allegations even lean in towards there's some citations that this particular practitioner may have been involved in similar allegations or similar circumstances in the past. Yet, as a matter of public record, there's no record. Nigeria does not record any doctor who has been, or medical practitioner who has been sanctioned. You only see those who have not renewed their licenses. So we don't even know those that get struck off from the register, as is done, for example, in the UK, where they will say these people have been, their licenses have been revoked. I know I'm just comparing with, you know.
You can't compare because the UK has so many instances of practitioners who should have been struck off years ago, but went on to kill 17 people. But that's a different story.
So that's what I want to dive into.
The regulatory frameworks are there.
Okay, are there lapses if there's an allegation, as is made severally in the public space, that some specific individuals are alleged to have been involved in similar cases of negligence, but they're still practicing and they do so openly? And you're saying it happens in other places in the world as well. How does this get addressed? How do we stop somebody who seems to be systemically negligent?
I think we're making assumptions here.
Okay.
I think we're definitely making assumptions here. Nothing has been proven to be fact. Now, true, I could be defending my professional colleague, but in this case, I am not. But the point still remains, has it been proven in fact? There are some
allegations.
Specialties that are fraught with danger. Okay. Anesthesia is one of them. You are taking a patient to the edge of death and bringing them back every single time. Let's look at a worst case scenario. Let us even assume, oh God, should I go down this road? Let us even assume there could be negligence or malpractice. Question number 1 I want to ask, how many anesthetists were on this case? Is it the only one? How long has he been? Because we're comparing him and the surgeon to the pilot of an aircraft. These are very risky professions. And that's the truth of the matter. How much systemic support does he have or she have? Because we don't even know whether the anesthetist is male or female, to be honest. And these are the questions that should be looked at in an investigation. Is there any anesthetist in the world or in Nigeria who has not lost a patient? There isn't. Except the one who has not been, who is not practicing. There isn't. Were those mistakes? Were they malpractice? Were they negligence? Or were they just unfortunate? That is going to be the outcome in this particular instance. That is what the investigation is going to set out to prove.
I'm sorry to interject. So are you saying that, in essence, negligence is a very difficult thing to prove?
No, it's not a difficult thing to prove.
Okay.
That's why we look for international or objective, inquiries to come in. No, it is not difficult. And he or she is going to be tried by a panel of inquiry of his or her peers, to be honest. Other anesthetists will be called in to weigh in. They'll look at everything and decide that, okay, there's nothing that could have been done, or, bro, you messed up here. Do you understand? But they will look at everything, and it's going to be anesthetists investigating this anesthetist.
So thank you so much. I mean, I feel your pain. For me...
Can you?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. I played with this child. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So it's a double jeopardy for me.
Oh, God.
I've held this child in my hand. I've played with this child, so it's a double jeopardy for me.
Oh.
So anytime we talk about it, it's not an easy one for me.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
But I'd like to ask, as regards the process of inquiry, because we've had coroner's inquests in the past, the case of Chef Peju Ogoma, whose husband was a friend of mine, also comes to mind.
You are a lightning rod for tragedy, aren't you, sir?
So, and we saw how that process went. Never felt like he got justice. I think Olisa Bakuba spoke about it. What should we expect from this process? Number one, what should be the questions we should ask from this process?
There are too many questions to ask. Because, like I said, from a public health point perspective, we're looking at what went wrong ab initio. The steps between perfect health and death. We need to examine every single step along the route. A 21-month-old little boy who is playful, mischievous, does not jump from alive and well and perfectly healthy to dead in one hop, skip, and jump. What went wrong along the way? At what point could this thing have been mitigated? Or is it an inevitable outcome? Because if you develop an viral encephalitis was the child fully immunized? Who knows? Immunized against that specific virus? Who knows? Or if you develop a viral encephalitis at that age, it doesn't matter where you are. It can be an inevitable, tragic outcome. That is an uncomfortable fact we have to deal with. However, all this is mere speculation until the facts are revealed. What can we expect will depend on... I hate to say it. I really do hate to say it. But this is the lightning rod that could strengthen the system going forward. Because for us in the health space, it's not new. It's not new. The systemic failures that we are faced with are too many and too grievous. And this is the outcome. The fact that it has happened to someone so beloved around the world, and particularly in Nigeria, is what makes it even more painful. But is this the lightning rod that will spark change? Is this the one that cannot be swept under the carpet? Is this the one that we are going to keep calling and say, hey, how far now? Has the inquiry been done? What have you found? What is the outcome? Is this the one that can change the system? Because if this can happen in a hospital like Uracare, is it the hospital that is to blame? Why Uracare? Why didn't they go to any of the teaching hospitals or general hospitals? Is that not an indictment on our teaching and general hospitals that they do not have the requisite expertise and infrastructure that a Uracare has? These are questions we need to ask. Lagos State, the champion of healthcare in Nigeria, how come one of your facilities was not the go-to? That's another question.
Okay, Professor Roberts, when lawyers make mistakes, they have the option of going up the hierarchy. If you make a mistake in the High Court, you go to the Court of Appeal, So there's an opportunity for remedy. the popular view is that when doctors make mistakes, they bury their mistakes. So at the end of the day, the affected family is helpless. Now, will you recommend that Nigerians need to receive more education about medical ethics?
Absolutely.
Because medical ethics is the main thing that the aggrieved mother is complaining about. Doctors should not be allowed to bury their mistakes.
In truth, doctors are not allowed to bury their mistakes. But I'll tell you one thing, and you are very correct, bros. I'll tell you one thing. Medical education of the public, health education of the public is critical. MDCN, the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, can only take up a case that the family, the patient, brings to them. I cannot report my colleague to MDCN as a professional colleague. I cannot report my colleague. If something happens and the patient dies and the family do not report to MDCN, hands are tied. Sometimes we are begging patients, families. They say, that fatalistic attitude. Well, the wicked have done their worst. You know that there's a case that has come to the hospital. I recall a case, this was a family that had eaten some meal and the little one had died and and only the mother was not affected. And we begged the family, can we carry out autopsy? No, they want their dead body, they want to go and bury. We begged, we pleaded. But you see, even in our coroner's law, there's a loophole that, we are of a certain faith, we need to bury within 24 hours. So public education, public health education is critical. Health education is critical. Health literacy is critical. Because in a child under 2, those danger signs switch in an hour. A child can go from having a common cold to a viral encephalitis that is life-threatening. If the parents, if the caregivers don't recognize those danger signs and have a wait-and-see attitude because the health facility is financially inaccessible, geographically inaccessible, socially or culturally inaccessible, that child is in danger. That asks for health literacy. Then we need the financial access. Now she is preparing, allegedly, to medevac the child to a health facility several thousand kilometers away. That health facility, this is all in the public space. This is what I'm reading in the public space. Allegedly, the health facility has asked for 2 key tests that tell me that, this child is gravely ill. You do not ask for a lumbar puncture if you're not expecting a grave problem. Nobody wants a lumbar puncture in a 2-year-old. Nobody. So there are so many questions. There are so many angles to it. And in all this pain that the mother and the grandmother, I have to identify with the grandmother, obviously. In all this pain that they're feeling, that they are brave enough to ask these questions, can save a lot more lives. That's the honest truth.
So here's my question, is that yes, it's important for us to push for this, for public education and public enlightenment about what the public's rights are in instances where they feel that possibly there are questions that need to be answered. And I understand that due to cultural, religious, intricacies, many people choose not to. But I'm curious, in the instances from your experience where people have chosen to pursue the matter, how many of those instances have actually resulted in some conclusive action being taken?
I can't give you exact figures offhand, but rather more than you would think. The truth of the matter is that it's not newsworthy. How do I put it?
How can something like that not be newsworthy?
It's not newsworthy. The physician is struck off the medical register. We see it sometimes. It's on page 27 of the newspaper in a small column there that, so and so. And I mean, we saw one about 6 months ago, a year ago. My husband, where are you? You would remind me.
But does the
where we were like, well, at long last, because we've always known.
But you're in the community, so it may not be newsworthy, but the public... we can't say, how can we say it's not newsworthy?
It's not newsworthy because at the end of the day, you will go to whom you will go to. You will go to where you go to who you trust. You are the same people as journalists who are fighting for the rights of mothers to go to traditional birth attendants to deliver.
The regulatory environment still allows people to slip through the cracks and operate with or without a license. So is it fair for us to say we'll go to where we go to when the regulatory environment is not actively policing to see who is...
We can only tell you, I can speak for Lagos State and Hefama Health, I can't remember what it stands for, EHEFA.
The agency, yes.
The agency, you know them. You know, you are supposed to have a notice on the outside of your facility, accredited by Hefama. Okay. Some do, some don't. I cannot force you to go here or there. The choice is yours. I cannot legislate your human behavior.
Okay. Who regulates Hefama?
Ooh, good question. I'm not sure. It's an agency set up by government.
So who regulates and ensures that a farmer does what a farmer needs to do?
Oh, that's a very good question. That is a very good question, and this is a question that we do need to answer, because at the end of the day, the agents that go out supposedly to accredit, because there are some places I see the farmer sign, and I'm like, really? Really? This has met the standard? Maybe the agent just went there, collected something under the table. Who knows? Who regulates?
Who regulates a farmer in such a way that a farmer can show us procedures and things done in every hospital, case study analysis and things like that?
If people don't ask, nobody is going to give you that information. Okay. Nobody is going to give you, nobody can give you that information. You are asking me now, and I'm thinking, I know the MD, but I'm going to leave here and be distracted by 10 other things that I have to do. Who's going to follow up on that?
I mean, I don't know how they do their legal things, but probably maybe the lawsuit Chimamanda is filing, probably a farmer too should be put in the lawsuit, because we need to also hear from the regulators.
The hospitals concerned, and there are two of them, nobody's mentioning the second one, so I won't. The hospitals concerned would definitely meet Hefama standards. There's no doubt. You can investigate them from the rooftop to the cellar. They will definitely meet in every which way. So that is not in question.
What makes up
because if you bring an international auditor to look at it, and I think one of them has ISO standard. I think Eureka has ISO standard, so that's an international standard. They'll meet it. Okay. Do you understand? But like you said, what about all the other deaths? All the other mothers who have lost their children to similar incidents, preventable incidences in the hospital? Who regulates? Who's watching? And I've asked this question. I've asked it on every TV station I've gone on to since 2020. Let us do these audits. Let's do this mystery shoppers audit. Yeah. But you will now tell me you don't have enough hands. They've told me that in other TV stations.
There seems to be an impression out there that medical standards are falling in Nigeria, specifically because many of our health professionals, either doctors or other categories, have left the country to become special providers for other people elsewhere. Do you think this is part of the problem? And
this is definitely part of the problem.
That people are not well paid. Resident doctors are going back and forth.
I've told you here on this station, haven't I not? I told you the day I had to sign for a registrar who had just become a consultant. And instead of taking up a position in the hospital, said, my husband says we are going to Canada. Why? Because the money he had to pay for the school fees for 2 of his 3 children to attend the school he went to was more than the flight ticket for 5 of them to go abroad. And he says, my wife, it's time, let's go. Now, when doctors, nurses, pharmacists, physiotherapists, highly trained healthcare professionals cannot afford education for their children to attain the levels they have reached, and the government is still doing like this and like that and like this and like that. You see, healthcare professionals are not trained to fight for their rights. They pick up their suitcase and go. They've got to provide for their children.
That's right.
They've got to provide for their families. They are not ready to. We are not fighters. Except if you've got somebody like me, of course, who's just a renegade.
We journalists are fighters.
Thank you very much.
We are not carrying any bag. We stay and fight.
We are here.
Yeah, take it
we will fight
carried bags
every morning.
Because yesterday, I mean, it's so funny you should call me today, because yesterday we were at work until well past closing hours, because we are pulling professionals from here to do this and from here to do this. And when you're pulling from section A, section B is left uncovered. When you're pulling from section B, section A is left uncovered. Because the same professionals are covering the jobs of what we should have double the number doing.
In private healthcare, where people are paying premium prices?
Darling, it is the same. How many anesthetists did we graduate last year?
But don't they...
How many? National Postgraduate Medical College has put out a call. Come and take your form, write your primary exams, let's start training you as anesthetists. They've got 230-something spaces. 14 people showed up for interview. 14. 2 may eventually take up the position. And in a year's time, we'll suddenly realize that the maths is not mathematicking. They have to go.
Well, scary. Well, thank you very much, Professor Alero Roberts, for joining us on The Morning Show.